The Power of the Dog, original film. It stars Benedict Cumberbatch, Jesse Plemons, Kirsten Dunst, Jodie Scott-McPhee, and Thomasin McKenzie. And tell the story about Phil, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, with his charismatic but aggressive rancher who basically gives fear and awe in those around him. Very intimidating character. But when his brother, played by Jesse Plemons, brings home his new wife, played by Kirsten Dunst, and her son, Jodie Scott-McPhee, that then leads to Phil, who then figures out, exposes the possibility of love and comfort. The film is 2 hours and 6 minutes long and is rated R. Welcome back to a brand new movie review, a highly anticipated The Power of the Dog, which is being very heavily talked about in the Oscar award season for all kinds of awards. We're also going to talk about that in this review, because that's why a lot of people are going to be checking out this movie and this review to see its chances in the Oscar race. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring the bell. I do movie reviews, TV show reviews, streaming platform reviews, movie rankings, and a box office breakdown show. So please subscribe, ring the bell. This is my 99th movie I've seen this year. So I'm about to get to over 100 new movies of the year. We're going to really crush that record. So we're going to move on, hopefully get to even to 110. We'll see how we go in the month of December, as this is my first new movie here, December 1st. Also, please comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. First of all, if you've seen this film, tell me, how do you like its Oscar chances? Also, let me know if you've seen the movie already. What categories do you want to see nominated with this movie? And do you think it should win Best Picture? If you haven't seen this film, tell me if you are and why you're going to. And please like the video. Let's talk Power of the Dog. So as I said, I was obviously going to have to watch this movie because I am literally the Oscar person. I go see every single Oscar movie that gets nominated. And this one is definitely going to get nominated for a lot of things. I'll talk about it in just a sec, but it had a lot of buzz. It came out, I think, the New York Film Festival about a month or two ago. So it already had some very heavy buzz before it hit Netflix today. And we're going to break down this with positive, negative, then my score. So let's go with the positives first. One of the biggest positives of the film, not just the acting, is really the direction from Jane Campion, who also wrote the script. It's a really beautiful and stunning movie, really from start to finish, which is, I believe, is a shoe-in for her to get nominated for Best Director. It's a really well-made movie, professionally done, but also just looks absolutely mesmerizing. We're basically on this ranch for, I would say, 90 to 95% of the film, and she does an excellent job. Also, which has an excellent job of showing is all these different perspectives on this one man. It really is a character study of Phil Burbank, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, but you get so many different perspectives on how he's affecting other people. And I think the Campion, as the director and the writer, really puts you in the position of the people around Phil, to understand where these characters are coming from. Not, does it always work? Probably not, but I would say for the most part, especially with Kirsten Dunst's character, and Cody Smith-McPhee's character, you really get where they're coming from, looking from the outside in on this family. Obviously, with Plemons being his brother, you kind of get where he's coming from. But for basically Dunst's character and McPhee's character, who are basically newcomers to the ranch, newcomers to Phil, Phil really has it out for Rose, played by Kirsten Dunst, from the start that she walks into the barn. And he thinks he has it out for Peter, played by Cody Smith-McPhee. But once he starts building a bit of a relationship with him, stuff really begins to unravel with the film and from an emotional point of view. So I think that directing and really putting you in the position of people around our main character was a really excellent job from a writing and directing point of view. So Jane Campion, I think you could shoe her in. I think she'll be nominated for director and possibly even screenplay at the Oscars. But that's not why we're here. We're talking about the movie in general. So we got to go acting. Benedict Cumberbatch is, as always, fantastic in this film. This is definitely going to be one of his strongest performances he's given to date. I still think nothing has touched Imitation Game for him as an actor, but still, he's been such a great actor for so many years. And this is a totally different looking Benedict Cumberbatch from a performance point of view. It's a character unlike anything that he's ever played before. And it's very mesmerizing to watch him balance the anger, balance how he doesn't really know how to emote at certain things, and just the responsibility that he has put on himself as this rancher who has a lot of responsibility, but he also doesn't want to let anyone into that. And I think his perspective is really, really unique. He's aggressive. Is he the likable character? He probably isn't that much of a likable character, but it really is a character study. It's not telling you to root for him, to not root for him. You're just kind of mesmerized by his performance. Now, I still think Will Smith and Andrew Garfield for me have been much stronger performances, but still, I think Cumberbatch is a real shot to get nominated as well. I also thought Kirsten Dunst was really good in the movie, especially in the second act of the movie, where her character is really at the forefront. She's in really bits and pieces of the first and third act, but the second act, it's a lot up to her. Her perspective on Phil, but also her perspective on being married to Jesse Plemons, who obviously they're real couple in real life, but where she comes from in the beginning of the movie and where she ends at the end of the movie are two totally different places. And you kind of get her motivation on where she's coming from. She really is just a brand new person who just is married. Jesse Plemons seems like a good person to her, but she also seems a bit out of place, but also she wants to find her place as well. It's a really, really good performance. And that was my favorite perspective to be in. I really found it easy to put yourself in her shoes in the situation, which made her whole character really work for me. I'm not sure if she'll get nominated, but it's a really good performance that is added by being a really good character that really feels like the audience in the movie. And she also has some, again, there's no really flawless character in this film. She also has some stuff worth noting. Jesse Plemons is good, just wish there's a lot more of him. He really is in the first 30 minutes of the movie, and then he kind of just disappears and he's in bits and pieces. I love Jesse Plemons. He won't get nominated at all for this movie. This is a movie that he's very good in as usual, but just he isn't in the movie enough for me. Kodi Smit-McPhee is excellent in this film, especially the back half of the film heading into the third act. He's really, really good in the movie. And his on-screen chemistry with Cumberbatch is really, really excellent. You get his love for his mom. You get all these different things. He's really, Kodi Smit-McPhee is really, really excellent in this film. And he's got also another great chance. He played Nightcrawler in the X-Men film. So I haven't really seen him in live action without the makeup, but he's really, really excellent in this film. And also, as I said, the film looks great and has a really emotional punch towards the end. You start to feel there's subtle hints that they give you throughout the film, and then it kind of wraps up at the end. You're like, oh, this is what this meant. This is what this meant. I thought they did a good job of handling that. I do have some issues with the film, though. And that for me, I'm just not going to have it as high tier as people. This is definitely not on my list to win Best Picture. I don't think really much of this film should win Oscar. I think nominations are definitely warranted, as I just said. But this is a film that I do like, but struggle to really like to think it's a great movie. I think this is an extremely solid film. It's again, amazingly directed with spectacular performances. For me, the story just doesn't come all the way together. It feels like from a story point of view, a lot more happens in the second half of the film from the first half. And because this is a different type of Western film, there's no action in it. It's basically a completely dialogue Western disguised, a character piece with mostly dialogue disguised as a Western. Because that's what it is, this movie at times is just really slow. And especially if you're not locked in from start to finish, I can see a lot of people finding this movie really boring because you really need to be locked into every single piece of dialogue and character moments in the entire film to really understand what is going on. And sometimes for me, I would just lose a bit focus too much because Jane Campion's trying to get to all these different perspectives. It sometimes feels like some characters are left in the background too much and some characters who don't need to be in the forefront are in the forefront. So I think the balance of too many things juggling from a perspective point of view, I think Kirsten Dunst had the most interesting one, but when you actually reflect back at the end of the movie, her perspective just doesn't seem as important as it should, even though she was my favorite one to look through. I wish she had a little bit more to do in the third act of the film. As I would have loved a little bit more of the brother relationship between Plemons and Phil. It's very much hinted, but Plemons and Cumberbatch don't get enough screen time together when they're just actually cool together. Then the first scene together, you can already feel the awkwardness between the brothers. So I would have loved to delve in a little bit more into the relationship between Plemons and Cumberbatch. Everything between McPhee and Cumberbatch were fantastic and must watch. It just felt like at times this movie is just really slow. It's 2 hours and 6 minutes, and it feels a lot longer than that. It feels like 2:30, 2:45. So if you're not that into a slow build Western that really isn't an action film, this might not be the film for you because it is really, really slow. And for me, at times, it was a bit too boring. And as I said, some of the revelations, it was a bit confusing because you do really have to pick up on a lot of the smallest bits of dialogue to understand things. And for me, that became a bit too confusing, especially when we were trying to wrap up what was happening in the third act of the film. But I said, it's an extremely solid film. Again, this is definitely one of the Benedict Cumberbatch is fantastic. Kirsten Dunst is great. Cody Smith-McPhee is fantastic in the film. And this is a really one of the best directed films I've seen all year long. But sadly for me overall, the story doesn't come all the way home. So while a lot of people want this film to do great at the Oscars, I'm not going to be one of those people who wanted to win some of the big awards. So I'm going to give The Power of the Dog a 3.5 out of 5. I'm going to give it a 70. I'm going to give it a 73%. I really had a good, I think it's a really good movie, really solid film for Netflix. So I'll actually go 75% for Power of the Dog. Really, really exactly a solid film for me. 75% means extremely solid. Can't really get it to the great tier or anything like that. I wanted a little bit more out of the film, would be a little bit more emotionally connected or rooting for someone. At times it was struggling hard to find someone to root for because there's a lot of shady stuff that happens in movies. So that's my thoughts on Power of the Dog. Please like the video, subscribe, ring the bell, comment down below. More videos are coming very, very soon. More movie reviews, TV show reviews, all these things. I'll see you guys soon.